By November, they decreed Zeng Guofan now is governor general and imperial commissioner over Anhui, Jiangsu, Jiangxi, and he had military authority in Zhejiang. So that's like 4 provinces. So the age-old, Chinese way of just throwing as many titles onto one person as possible to just, see if he'll succeed. Yeah, that's
So
going on.
I'm just honestly, I'm right now just trying to imagine like a nameplate in his office.
Oh, it would be over the desk, of course. I mean, for people who listen to,
I disagree. I'm not saying it's just going to be over the desk. It's going to be several layers.
yeah, uh, Zheng learned of his elevations alongside the coup details. So he actually expressed a lot of shock in his diary entries. He felt that the power that he was being given was overwhelming and that he didn't deserve it. He was actually a pretty humble guy. He was very afraid of the situation because you have to understand that whether he wins or not, if he's seen as a threat to Beijing, they're going to kill him. So, nonetheless, he would delegate civil administration to his deputies, Li Hangjiang to Jiangsu, Zhou Huangtang to Zhejiang, and there was others that we're just not going to get into that would oversee Jiangxi and Anhui. This allowed Zhang Guofan to redirect provincial taxes towards recruiting and equipping more troops, amplifying the Great Qing counteroffensive, we'll call it. Mind you, it's still him building a private army. Got to bring that up. This is the fundamentals of what will be China's
It's
warlord era.
it's just funny when you mentioned right Zeng Guofan, like when he was rebuilding the city of Anqing, how he used them soldiers as laborers,
Mhm.
marionette mules.
Yeah, great dichotomy there. Now, in Nanjing, Han Regan's situation was growing increasingly dire. He had suffered a major defeat at Anqing. His competitors were taking advantage of his absences to strip away his influence in the capital. And I just want to remind the audience, Han Regan is kind of one of the only logical guys in control in Nanjing. He's the only competent, we'll call him prime minister as a position. He's doing a
I
lot of good.
I just got a question. Overall, you said if you include Hongregang, Shidaka was probably the only real competent commander on
Military commander,
average.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, just from the military aspect. And I think one of the early kings who died, I think he was also,
Yeah.
I think he was the North King, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
Yeah.
You also mentioned that he was also a very experienced commander.
He was the mastermind behind the early military successes. If he had survived, a lot of people would think that he would be like the general, the Caesar, figure.
So it just feels like these three are the only beacons of some semblance of rationality and competent thought amongst
The
the
thing is,
top leadership.
yeah, Li Suchang is now the bona fide military commander. He's the guy that can get stuff done, but he's a hothead and on the diplomatic front, moron. He's doing a lot of damage to them politically. But from a military point of view, he's actually a very competent military commander. And Chen Yucheng, to a lesser extent, is pretty good. But yeah. So the ongoing attempts to secure Western backing was failing, leading to a lot of humiliating situations that we saw in the last episode. The Taiping's relationships with the foreigners had soured significantly, largely because of Li Shuchang and his actions. Numerous foreign missionaries were ceasing their trips to Nanjing, and this vital communication channel that was going to Hongregan was, starting to fade. Shanghai was preparing for what seemed like an imminent Taiping assault upon the city, and Hongregan was powerless to stop Yi Sucheng from doing this. For Zeng Guofan, he recognized Shanghai's immense riches and the need to shield it from the Taiping, but Nanjing held even greater strategic importance, so he couldn't really do anything. He couldn't mount a defense of Shanghai and strangle Nanjing at the same time. Zhang Guofan chose to prioritize Nanjing, hoping that once Li Hangjiang had strengthened his little private army, he could maybe go help out Shanghai.